Welcome back. President Trump arrives in the UK tomorrow. He's clashed in the past with the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, and when I caught up with the Mayor this week, I asked him whether the President would be coming if it had been down to him.
I think it's important for us to have good relations with our closest ally. I think it's important for our allies to be here to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the D-Day landings. We've got to have good relations with the USA, but I don't think we should be rolling out the red carpet. I don't think this should be a state visit. And why do I say that? I think our closest ally is akin to a best friend. And the thing about a best friend is, of course, you stand shoulder to shoulder with them at times of adversity, but you've got to call them out when you think they're wrong. And there are so many things about President Donald Trump's policies that are the antithesis of our values in London, but also our values as a country.
But you see no distinction then between the office of the President and the occupant of that office. I mean, if there isn't a time to roll out the red carpet for the United States President, surely, you know, the commemorations that he is attending, surely that is the occasion on which he should.
Well, look, there are other close allies coming for the commemorations. They're not getting a state visit, a state banquet costing millions of pounds. And my point is this, some of the things Donald Trump has done over the last 2-3 years, Londoners find abhorrent and offensive, rolling back the reproductive rights of women, separating children from their parents on the Mexican border, introducing a ban on Muslim-majority countries, standing up and defending white supremacists, neo-Nazis and anti-Semites in Charlottesville, amplifying messages from racists in this country, walking away from the Paris Climate Accord, and I could go on. And my frustration with our Prime Minister is she's not willing to say boo to a goose.
What do you think it would do to the nominally special relationship for Donald Trump to be told that the red carpet wouldn't be rolled out?
Well, look, there's no reason at all why we can't have good relations with the USA. Look, we in London benefit from massive investment to our city from US companies, US individuals. We have this summer great American sports coming to London with Major League Baseball, and I love Americans, and many Americans love our city and our country, but that friendship means candor, and I think we should be candid with the American president and say, you know what, we disagree with you on so many things. That doesn't mean we can't still have a good relationship. We've got to distinguish the current office holder of the President of the USA and our relationship with the country and its people and its businesses and future office holders. We now know that our Prime Minister won't be around for much longer. Similarly, this President won't be there forever. And one of the things that people look back on about our approach to this President is that I think they'll regret that our government, this Prime Minister, didn't stand up more to him.
Given your obvious antipathy towards the man and given the antipathy that you display on behalf of those Londoners who you assume dislike him, there's some fairly major protests taking place on Tuesday. Can we expect to see you at the front of it?
No, I'm going to the protest. I think it's inappropriate. What's important that any protest is peaceful, lawful and safe. One of the things, actually, I'm not being trite here, that the Allies fought for in the Second World War, for us to have these freedoms and these liberties to protest against things that we find objectionable. I think it's right and proper that Londoners and those from around the country who've got concerns around Donald Trump should protest. The key thing is got to be lawful, it's got to be safe, and it should be peaceful as well.
I wonder if we can turn to Brexit and first of all, those European elections. Labour lost ground here in London, rather shockingly, in fact, to many people who followed Labour's fortunes here over the years. Is it that equivocation over the second vote that cost Labour so badly?
It was heartbreaking to speak to Labour supporters, Labour activists and Labour members who couldn't vote Labour in the European elections. Some of the reasons we were given was the lack of clarity around Labour's position around Brexit. Some of the reasons were given a lack of being stronger about the fact that we've been betrayed by those who made promises to leave and we should be calling for a public vote. And there is a real concern that I've got that unless we clarify at a national level our position on where we stand in the European Union, it could lead to these people who didn't vote for us in the European elections not voting for us the next time there's an election.
I mean, let's be clear. I mean, the second referendum was clearly an issue, perhaps as much of an issue as the person that's leading the party, surely, Jeremy Corbyn.
Oh, a big issue was the lack of clarity in our position on Europe. A big issue was the fact that we're not being stronger in relation to the need for a public vote. My view is quite clear. My view is that what we're being presented with now from the government is a million miles away from what was promised in the referendum campaign. In light of that, the British public, for the first time, should give a say, do you accept this deal negotiated by the government with the option of remaining in the EU?
I mean, the Labour Party is, everyone would admit, in something of an invidious position. You know, you've got the Leave voters in the north and the Remain voters in the south. Is there a way to square the circle?
You know, sometimes leadership is about leading from the front. You want to make sure there's people following you, but you've got to be authentic and have conviction in what you believe in. We now know that Parliament's in gridlock. Parliament can't decide what is the optimal outcome. Now, actually, there's a pragmatic case now for saying there should be a public vote. So not just because you're a conviction politician, but for pragmatic reasons, give the British public a say for the first time, do you want to stay in the European Union, as imperfect as it is, reform it if you can, or do you accept the deal negotiated by the government? That will lead to, by the way, less jobs, less wealth, less prosperity. We're already seeing a consequence on the NHS and in construction and other sectors. That's before we've left the European Union.
Sadiq Khan, thanks very much for being with us.